much time is left remaining?
5 minutes and 0 seconds remaining.
Thank you. Your Honor, may I proceed?
Yes, you may.
Gotcha now. These are the words the defendant shouted right before striking Angel with a brick. Those words, coming right before smushing a brick against his skull, is how the defendant fulfilled her promise to break Angel Sterling. Tonight, as the prosecution, we bear the burden of proof. But brick by brick, we built a wall of evidence to prove to you 3 things. Jesse Woodson had the motive, the means, and the opportunity to turn cyberbullying into real-life violence. First, let's start with the motive. Jesse Woodson is an 18-year-old high school dropout and notorious troublemaker who spends her free time at the middle school computer lab. When the defendant lost her internship at the computer lab, she only had Angel Sterling to blame. After all, it was Angel Sterling who had cost her only source of friends and only source of employment. Next, Jesse Woodson had the means. Tonight you've heard Detective Cooper testify how he discovered threatening messages that linked the defendant directly to Angel Sterling. In these threatening messages, Jesse Woodson stated, "I've got a brick that wants to meet the back of your head." Detective Cooper also testified how he had arrested the defendant before for similar charges. The defendant had used a brick as a weapon in the past. If the defendant can pick up a brick, throw it at a kid before, the defendant could do it again. Next, you've heard from Dr. Sam Holloway. Dr. Sam Holloway confirms that the calcium silicate found all over the defendant's t-shirt and under her fingernails is an exact match to the calcium silicate found on the weapon used against Angel Sterling. Now, lastly, the defendant had opportunity. In Chris Draper's eyewitness testimony, Chris Draper saw the defendant waiting outside of Dunbar Middle School the day of the attack. Chris Draper saw the defendant carrying a red object in her hands. Chris Draper saw the defendant the same day, the same hour, the same interim of time of Angel's attack. Chris Draper saw the defendant and saw the defendant alone. Angel Sterling testified tonight. Now, when Angel Sterling wakes up in the morning, he immediately feels pain. Not just the pain from the wound on the back of his head, but the emotional pain, because his life has changed. When he checks his emails before he goes to school, he also checks his hate page, hoping it no longer exists. Tonight, Angel Sterling truthfully testified how the last voice he heard before he became unconscious was the defendant's. It was the voice that shouted, "Gotcha." Now, opposing
2 minutes
counsel
remaining.
wants you to believe that the defendant is just a victim of coincidence. But one thing you must ask yourself tonight is this: was it a coincidence? Was it a coincidence that it was Jesse Woodson who had created the hate page to Angel Sterling? Was it a coincidence that she was seen waiting outside of Dunbar Middle School the day of the attack? Was it a coincidence that she was seen carrying a red object in her hands? Was it a coincidence that she sent Angel a message stating, "I've got a brick that wants to meet the back of your head"? Was it a coincidence that the
1 minute
calcium
remaining.
silicate found under Jesse Woodson's fingernails and all over her t-shirt was an exact